Tonight, we have loads of men's and women's ice hockey news and highlights, including the Connecticut Ice Tournament.
Also, both basketball teams have been rolling as of late, and a return of a familiar face. Sports Paws starts right now. Welcome to Sports Paws. My name is Ben Rickovicius, and I'm joined tonight by Keenan Mills.
We're so excited to be back for our first show of the semester. It's been a while since we have been back in Studio 125, but even though we were gone, Quinnipiac Sports did not take a break. Here's Nick Antoniadis with everything that happened since we were last on the air.
Thank you, gentlemen. It's good to be back here on Studio 125. There was a lot to talk about in Quinnipiac Sports, so we're going to just get right into it. I want to focus on the men's ice hockey team as a head coach and a Quinnipiac player competed in the World Junior Championships hosted in Canada. Head coach Rand Pecknold and forward Sam Lipkin competed for the gold. Unfortunately, they did not win. Canada ended up running away with it, but they competed against Sweden to compete in the bronze medal match, and they ended up winning in dramatic fashion by a score of 8-7 in overtime. Head coach Rand Pecknold, Sam Lipkin, and the entire USA team all got bronze medal. So it was a very successful time in Canada. Now we're going to switch over to the Quinnipiac men's ice hockey team, where they were named #1 in the USCHO men's ice hockey poll for the first time since last year. But it was a little different this year because they lasted a little bit longer than they did last season, and it was just a successful break overall for the men's ice hockey team. Now switching over to the locker room, we're going to be talking about the women's ice hockey team. Not only did they split the series against the Wisconsin Badgers on New Year's Eve and on New Year's Day, they got invited on January 6th to compete in the frozen Fenway against the Harvard Crimson. On a very cold and snowy day, the Bobcats played outside at Fenway Park, home of the Boston Red Sox. For the first time in program history, they're playing outside. The Bobcats would end up winning this game by a score of 3-1, putting their names in the history books, and it was just a very successful moment for Cass Turner and the whole entire women's ice hockey team to compete at the frozen Fenway. Now, I'd like to switch over to the basketball court and talk about the hottest team in the MAC over break, and it was the Quinnipiac men's basketball team. They ended up getting a 6-game winning streak over that break, and the two players that I want to focus on is Ike Nweke and Paul Otieno. Ike Nweke had a career high of 24 points against the Canisius Golden Griffins on January 22nd, and Paul Otieno was basically having a double-double every other game for the Bobcats. And it goes to show, these players are going to be successful, and they're going to be help building the culture for this Bobcats team. And I can honestly say that this could be the best program in Bobcats history for the men's basketball team since the 1970 team, who they actually honored in the Canisius Golden Griffins game on January 22nd. But I honestly believe that Baker Dunleavy and this men's basketball team are going to be ready to go and prepared coming March time for the MAC tournament. And that's all I have over break of the news. I'll send it back over to you guys, back on the desk.
To open up the men's ice hockey weekend, the Bobcats welcome in the Pioneers of Sacred Heart for their first contest of the Connecticut Ice Tourney. The Sacred Heart Pep Band made the 45-minute drive north from Fairfield to support their Pioneers in the opening round of the Connecticut Ice Tournament. The other semifinal was between UConn and Yale. UConn took that one to take on the winner of this one in the championship game. We will jump right into the first period where Sacred Heart is looking to get on the board first, but Yanni Peretz slams the door on the opportunity. A few moments later, it'll be Colin Graff who will slide it past Lush to give the Bobcats an early 1-0 lead. Going into the second period, following an Ethan DeYoung goal, it was Joey Cipollone who slaps one over the pad of Lush to extend the Bobcat lead to 3-0. Colin Graff, who we mentioned scored earlier in the game, will again get some action in the third period. He will keep it going on the offensive side of the puck as he jukes around Lush to erupt the sleeping giant, and the Bobcat fans are going crazy as they see the lead go to 4. The final goal of the night, though, will come from the stick of TJ Friedman, who makes a nice maneuver around a defenseman and slaps the frozen biscuit through the 5-hole. 5-0 Bobcats. They will continue They go on to shut out the Pioneers and will advance to their third consecutive CT Ice Championship game to play UConn. With the win over Sacred Heart, Rand Pecknold celebrated his 600th career win behind the bench. Let's hear his remarks about the milestone as the head coach.
I thought it was a really good win. Crowd was rocking, place was good. The rink was great tonight. The fans were great. I thought Sacred Heart did a really nice job early. That's a really good hockey team. CJ and his staff do an excellent job. They gave us all we could handle, and the key to the whole game really was that first goal by Graf. I thought Sacred Heart was outplaying us a little bit early, and we got our legs under us after that. That nice individual play. Yanni played great as always, and a good PK. So we take the win, get ready for a tough one with UConn tomorrow. To have the support that I've had here from Quinnipiac, from our presidents to our ADs, having this great facility and the budget, everything they give us, and obviously we've had a lot of really good players over the years, and a lot of really good assistant coaches too that do a great job. So it's a nice reward, but we gotta reload here and get ready for 601.
After defeating Sacred Heart in the first matchup of the tournament, Quinnipiac looks to repeat as Connecticut Ice Hockey champions against UConn. Let's take a look at this championship game here. Quinnipiac going off against UConn to see who the best team in Connecticut is. The last time these two schools met was the last season in the championship, where the Bobcats hoisted that championship trophy for the first time in program history. Let's jump right into the first period as the Bobcats, they're on the power play, and it's Ethan DeYoung, but his shot hits off the foot of Skylar Brindamore, and it finds itself in the back of the net. Right place at the right time right there. However, Huskies not out of this one yet. It's Justin Pearson on the break, all alone by himself, and he slides that one right into the net to tie this game up at 1 apiece. It's late in the first period, and DeYoung gets past to Filione, and he blasted past Arsene Sergi to give the Bobcats the lead entering the first intermission. In the second period, it's going to be all Huskies. It's Samu Solomon who ties this game with 90 seconds to go off this power play. Crazy sequence right here. Huskies aren't done yet in this period. Time's winding down, but there's still enough time for Hudson Shandor, and he tickles the twine to give the Huskies their first lead of the night entering the third period. Big third period coming up for the Bobcats. 20 minutes away from determining this championship, it's the Bobcats. They're going to be on the power play again here. It's Ethan DeYoung. He's being called on, and he delivers. Pushes that one past the Huskies defense, tying this game at 3 apiece. 10 minutes later, the hero emerges. It's Jake Johnson. He slaps that one into the back of the net to light the lamp and give the Bobcats the late lead. This late push by the Huskies ends up being unsuccessful as Skylar Brindamore makes a nice deflection here to ice the game for the Bobcats. They're your 2023 Ice Hockey champions for the second season in a row. With this year's edition of the Connecticut Ice Hockey Tournament officially in the books, next year's tournament will be different. As part of a rotating schedule between schools, Gage Kilbourne has more.
The Quinnipiac men's ice hockey team added another trophy to their trophy case as they won the CT Ice for the second consecutive season. The only difference, they played it here at Hamden, Connecticut instead of in Bridgeport.
This past summer, the 4 head coaches got together and discussed the 4 locations of the tournament due to the distance and low fan support from last season.
I was a big proponent that we rotate the 4 schools and host it. I thought the event today was great. I think it'll be great again tomorrow. I think Quinnipiac's done a really good job with it. I thought the game tonight was excellent. Part of the problem where we were in Bridgeport. Again, a little bit. We had a pandemic. We had a snowstorm. So I don't know if it's fair to Bridgeport with that, but we want to have a great atmosphere for the players, and I thought we had it tonight.
Although this idea might seem promising, UConn head coach Mike Cavanaugh believes it will only decrease the amount of fans in support of the Connecticut Ice Tournament.
I think Quinnipiac did a great job, but I went on record last night, and I'll stay on it. I think this should be played at the XL Center. I think it should be played at a big venue. I think we're shortchanging ourselves by limiting it to 3,600 fans. I really believe that this tournament would get 8,000 to 9,000 fans at the XL Center.
Although Rand Pecknold and the rest of the Connecticut schools hope to improve the CT Ice to the level of the Beanpot, there is still one objective left this season for Quinnipiac, bringing home the national title. Reporting from the M&T Bank Arena, Gage Kilbourne, Q30 Sports.
After shutting out Sacred Heart and saving 25 shots against UConn, the Quinnipiac keeper received an ECAC hockey honor. Yanni Peretz won ECAC Goaltender of the Week for the second time this month. He currently leads the nation in both goals against average and winning percentage. He also is second in the nation with 5 shutouts on the year. Last week, he had a total of 45 saves and won in both games. If he keeps the pace up, he could win back-to-back ECAC Goaltender of the Year awards.
After defeating the number 10 ranked Yukon Huskies, let's take a look where the Bobcats stand in the USCHO polls. After previously number 1 ranked St. Cloud was swept by Minnesota Duluth this past weekend, Minnesota replaces St. Cloud as the newest number 1. Quinnipiac falls at number 2, receiving 4 first-place votes. Boston University and Denver trail the Bobcats, both receiving first-place votes. St. Cloud drops to number 5 in the polls, just 1 week ahead. Michigan, Ohio State, and Harvard end up finishing it off. We'll have to step out now for our first commercial break of the night.
When we return, we'll talk all things Quinnipiac basketball and women's ice hockey. Stick with us.
What do you think you're doing, Kevin?
Was just gonna drive home.
There are several warning signs present that you shouldn't be driving.
Like hearing voices?
Like your text-to-emoji ratio?
Oh man, the selfies. Selfie, nailed it.
We all have warning signs that let us know that we're probably not okay to drive. Mine is pretending to be your subconscious.
Craig, come on man, let's put a ride home.
If you need to do something to feel okay to drive, you're not okay to drive. Don't drive buzzed.
Multiple studies have shown that marijuana can slow both driver reaction and response time,
which can be really dangerous.
It's here.
It's here. Wait. What?
I can't drive.
What?
My.
Oh.
Welcome back from our first break of the night. Let's not waste a second and get into some women's ice hockey action. After a recent loss to the Yale Bulldogs, let's see if the Bobcats can bounce back in their next game against the Princeton Tigers. On Saturday afternoon, the Quinnipiac women's ice hockey team continued their ECAC campaign as they welcomed home the Princeton Tigers. We'll kick it off, the action right in the first period. First 5 minutes in this one. It's going to be Kendall Cooper. She's going to pick up a loose puck here, and she'll retreat to the point. But she's going to find Maddie Samuelskevich, who puts the Bobcats on the board first. Quinnipiac up 1-0. Later, same frame. It's Kate Riley with the puck on the near side. And this juke, check out this. She jukes her Princeton defender, and then she finds the back of the net at that low right side. 2-0 Quinnipiac. We're going to skip that second period. No action. Great goaltending in that second period, though. But let's fast forward here. Kendall Cooper, again, by the blue line. She's got past to Maddie Samuelskevich, just like earlier, but she shoots. Misses. But then Cooper controls the rebound for the power play goal. A nice 3-0 lead, but the Bobcats are not content. They go on the man advantage, and Olivia Mobley picks up the puck on the power play and scores that insurance goal. That wraps up the first game of this home and away, and Quinnipiac will end up blanking Princeton in this one, 4-0.
The Bobcats bounce back after the tough loss to the Yale Bulldogs. Beat reporter Andrew Reynolds has more on the Princeton game.
After a tough loss to second-ranked Yale last Saturday, the Quinnipiac Bobcats came back to M&T Bank Arena tonight to take on the Princeton Tigers, where they won with a final score of 4-0.
I think it was an emotional week just because Yale is such a big rivalry for us. And we did play really hard that game, just couldn't find the bounces, which was tough. But I think coming into this weekend, we wanted a fresh start, a clean start, kind of what Sam was saying, hone back in on the details and kind of go back to Quinnipiac hockey.
And played Quinnipiac hockey they did, scoring 2 goals in the first and 2 in the third, helped the Bobcats tear up the Tigers' defense. Head coach Cass Turner was very pleased with their team after the win.
It's a good win. You know, they have a very deep lineup. You know, you look at Maggie Connors and Sarah Fillier and Dom Cormier, like they have some great players within their lineup. So it's a big win, and you know, certainly we need to have that respect for them again tomorrow because it's going to be a tough game.
The defense played a critical role in the win, collecting 75% of the goals scored. Junior Maddie Simiskevich claimed the first goal of the night. Simiskevich talked to the press after the game to talk more about how the defense has evolved over the season.
I mean, yeah, it's awesome that all 3 defense got a goal. I think this year, like, our head coach gave us the green light for SD to be more a part of the offense. So I think we're really dialing in on that and just getting pucks in the net, creating chances.
She's so good on her edges. She's evasive with the puck, and you can feel it from the other bench, just like, oh, she's got it again. You know, this puck's going to be broken out. She's a smart player, and she likes to play offense and has that grit defensively. She just keeps getting better and better.
The Bobcats look to continue their success versus Princeton as they travel to New Jersey for the second game of their home-and-home series. For Q30 Sports, I'm Andrew Reynolds.
After the big win on Saturday, the Bobcats traveled to Princeton to try for the weekend sweep. Sunday was one of the worst losses for the program after falling 11-3. The Tigers had 3 different players notch hat tricks in the win. Quinnipiac finds their 3rd loss of the ECAC regular season as the Bobcats enter the last month of the regular season. This was the last time the 2 teams will meet in this year's regular season. The Bobcats are looking to bounce back after the team's worst loss under Coach Cass Turner on Friday. Following the weekend split, the Bobcats are expecting some movement. Let's take a look at this week's USCHO women's poll. After the loss to Princeton, there were some shifts in the USCHO women's poll across the board. Ohio State, with no surprise, sits at number 1, quickly followed by the Yale Bulldogs, who are currently number 2. Minnesota and Colgate complete the top 4, with the Northeastern Huskies finding themselves at number 4. The Princeton loss brings the Bobcats all the way down to 6. Minnesota, Duluth, and Wisconsin are 7 and 8. Clarkson and Penn State complete the top 10 at 9 and 10. With the regular season finishing in February, all teams are looking to climb the ladder.
Switching over to the women's basketball, the Bobcats face off against the Manhattan Jaspers. Let's see if they can extend their winning streak to 3 games. The Bobcats put on an offensive clinic against the Jaspers, taking this one 52-38. Curtiera Haywood led the Bobcats in scoring with 16 points alongside 7 rebounds. Dee Dee Davis scored 13 points in the loss for Manhattan. Quinnipiac scored 22 points in the paint versus Manhattan's 10 points in the paint. Star guard Mackenzie DeWeese also made her season debut for the Bobcats after returning from injury.
Coming off of a victory against Manhattan, the women's basketball team made the trip back to Hamden as they welcomed in the number 3 seed Siena. It is a top 4 MAC matchup as the Siena Saints come into town to take on a red-hot Bobcat squad that is feeling good as they welcome back grad student Mackenzie DeWeese. The Saints come out shooting in the first quarter. Let's hop right in as Curtiera Hayward finds herself guarded near the foul line and swings it over to Jackie Grisdale, who hits the open corner 3, and she'll finish with 17 in this contest. On the other side, Elisa Mevius, who gives the Saints the early lead with a wide-open 3-pointer. Grisdale again in the corner gives it to Mary Baskerville under the rim, who gobbles up her own rebound and gets the easy lay. Now, heading into the second quarter, Grisdale again with the ball. She'll miss a 3 this time, and who but Mary Baskerville again on the boards and gets the putback. She finishes with 16 points and 20 rebounds. Into the second half, London Gamble coming off the screen, jumps like she's shooting, but then touches it down to Anaja Brown, who gets an easy 2. The Bobcats are doing it on both ends of the court as Grisdale sends back a shot and gets the team fired up. They keep the lead, and now on the other side, Grisdale chucks up another 3 that falls perfectly into Mackenzie DeWeese's hands for her first field goal of the year. Bobcat fans are loving that as we head into the last quarter. Saints trying to make a late push as Brown hits a jump shot against the glass for 2. But here comes Caverly to answer with a wide-open layup, and the Bobcats will hold on to this one. They hold on and beat the number 3 seed in the conference, thanks to big games for Baskerville and Grisdale. They are back in action on Thursday. After 18 games on the sideline, grad student Mackenzie DeWeese returned to the court, notching 7 points in the win against Siena on Saturday. With the 4-game winning streak and a huge win over the Siena Saints this weekend, the women's MAC standings are due for some movement. Let's take a look. Iona stays on top with an impressive 10-1 record. The Purple Eagles stay sitting at number 2 as Quinnipiac moves up to 3 after this weekend's win. Fairfield shifts upward to the 4 seed as Siena moves backwards to the 5 seed after the Bobcat loss. Marist and Mount St. Mary's each are sitting at 6 and 7. Manhattan, Canisius, and Ryder finish off the top 10. St. Peter's, who have yet to win a game, sit at the bottom in the MAC standings. There's still a lot of movement possible as all of the teams look to have the easiest road possible in Atlantic City.
After starting the new year undefeated, the Bobcats head to New Rochelle to take on the Gales in the second game of the season series. Let's take a look how they did. After leading the Iona Gales by 17 points at halftime, the Bobcats would end up losing the game by a final score of 78-72. Desi Jones led the Bobcats with 24 points and 6 rebounds. Walter Clayton Jr. was the Gales' leading scorer, dropping 17 points. The Bobcats had 17 turnovers as a team and was outscored 30-20 in the paint. This loss ends a 6-game winning streak for the Bobcats. After suffering a tough loss, let's see how the MAC recent standings look right now. Coming into today, Siena leads the MAC standings with an 8-2 conference record. Rick Pitino's Iona Gales are in second place, boasting a 7-3 conference record. Ryder falls into third place with a 7-3 record as well. The Bobcats end up dropping to fourth place in the MAC standings after suffering a tough comeback loss against Iona. The Fairfield Stags sit behind Quinnipiac in fifth place, rounding out the bottom of the MAC. It's the St. Peter's, Peacocks, Marist, and Mount St. Mary's, as they still haven't found their strides yet this season. The Bobcats return to play at the M&T Bank Arena in this matchup against Marist on Tuesday.
We have already gotten through a lot, but we still have more to come. After the break, we are going to get into some track and field, tennis, the top 5, and more.
When we adopt a shelter pet, we discover they're a unique mix of all kinds of things.
Come on, Jules, spot on this last one. There it is.
Keep going with it. Leo! They're a little bit of a lot of things, but they're all pure love.
I know what you're thinking. I need a job.
I need a new career.
Well, I've been there.
I've been there.
I've been there. I wasn't happy with what I was doing. After high school, I didn't have a plan.
I just wanted to start working.
I got laid off twice, but you gotta keep going.
You just need the right skills. Find an apprenticeship.
I found a 2-year IT program.
I found a medical course online.
I'm now a consultant in the tech space.
You have more options than you think. You can do this. You will find something.
You will find something new.
Maybe you can make retirement happen. After all, you made home ownership happen. Homeschooling yourself on loans, beefing up your credit score.
So I'm pre-approved.
You were like, yes! Sorry. Color-coding listings, ticking boxes, and flushing every toilet in a 20-mile radius. Home sweet home. You aced house hunting. Now get the tips you need to get on track at aceyourretirement.org.
Thank you for sticking with us here at Sports Paws. Let's keep rolling as we take a look at some different sports with track and field, tennis, and more. The women's track and field team traveled to Boston University for the John Terrier Classic. Let's see how they did. Overall, the team finished at 7th with some impressive results from many of the runners. Emily Young broke the school record for the 1,000 meter, also having the best time in the conference. Riley Smith was also at the top of the MAC with her time in the 400 meter championship weekend is right around the corner for the team, and the Bobcats will look to bring home a trophy. The New England Championships will be right back in Boston next weekend, and the MAC Championships will be in New York towards the end of February. As I mentioned, grad student Emily Young broke the school record, notching her name in the Bobcat books forever. With the time of just over 2 minutes and 50 seconds, Young broke the current record by more than 2 seconds. In the Boston event, Young got the best time in the MAC. Young, along with some of her teammates, also ran in the relay, earning that team the best time in the MAC as well. The New York graduate looks to stay fast as the women's track and field team prepares for the championship season. Traveling back to Boston for the New England Championships, this weekend will be a big test for Young and the track and field team. The men's and women's tennis teams had matches in North Haven this weekend. Let's see how they fared. Both teams hosted the Merrimack Warriors as the tennis season got underway. The women's team got their first win of the year. They earned the doubles match as they split the singles matches to take the victory on Saturday. The men's team earned their second win of the Young season. They swept the doubles matches and had 4 wins in singles play. Both men's and women's host the Delaware Blue Hens next Saturday as they look to keep solid as the rest of the spring season continues.
After winning the MAC championship this fall, a few Bobcats will not be a part of the repeat effort. Let's see which Bobcats have made the decision to transfer. Jared Smith, Sam McCann, and Alexander Sterngard have announced that they will be leaving the Bobcats. Sophomore forward Sam McCann announced that he will be playing for the George Mason University Patriots this upcoming season. Jared Smith has decided to transfer to Seton Hall, and Alexander Sterngard will be taking his talents to Marshall. The Bobcats also welcome in Noah Cabiz from the NC State and Flip Kangman from St. John's to their squad.
After a long winter break, it's finally time for the return of the top 5. Let's hop right into it with play number 5.
All right, starting off top 5 here. Got to go with play number 5. It's going to be men's ice hockey. Let's flash it back to Ethan DeYoung on this power play. Late in that CT Ice tournament, he slaps it into the back of the net for Quinnipiac, tying this game up. See on the replay there, just getting past his defenders. Great effort to tie this game up for the Bobcats.
Now we are going to take a walk over to Lender Court for play number 4. Mary Baskerville's initial shot does not go through, but she picks up the rebound and lays it in for 2.
All right, go back to women's hockey. It's Kate Riley putting the moves on as she dances for this one in for the goal. Saw it on the replay. Riley looking impressive right there, kind of looking like me when I was 8 years old in the living room playing Just Dance. Great moves there. She's got to be working on her dance moves in the offseason. Maybe she's joining the dance team soon.
Ben, I really can't imagine that was pretty, but what was this number 2 play from TJ Friedman. He dances around Dante Fantuzzi and blasts the puck through the 5-hole to further pad in the lead. As we see on the replay, not only did he skate around the defender, but he stayed with the puck to help cash in the goal for the Bobcats.
All right, I'll admit, Keenan, that was pretty cool. But this one's got to take the cake. It's Jake Johnson, the hero. 3-3 tie in the CT Ice tournament, and bang, shoots that one in to the back of the net to get the Bobcats. They're ending up winning goal. Look at this beauty one more time. See a body's right there, able to locate the top right shelf. Puck actually comes flying back out and onto the playing field.
That was cool, but did you see Friedman's goal? I mean, that was just better.
Now that we've taken a look at the best plays of the past week, let's take a look to this upcoming week in Quinnipiac athletics. MAC play at Lender Court continues as the men's basketball team will host the Marist Red Fox this Tuesday, and the women's basketball team will play host to Ryder this Thursday night.
Both hockey teams will hit the road this weekend, with the women's team looking for a rebound performance after their 11-3 loss against Princeton. They'll face off against Dartmouth Friday afternoon, and the men's team wraps up this weekend playing against their big ECAC rival, Harvard, on Friday night.
Keenan, I gotta know, what is your upcoming game of the week? What do you got your eyes on right now?
I always like it when Quinnipiac beats Harvard. It's, but I think that could be a good game between some of the ECAC teams. What about you, Ben?
I got my eyes on Fairfield, that men's basketball matchup. I'm actually going to be on the call with that one for Connor Core, but it's just a great chance for the Bobcats to try to end that get out of that bad water right there after that Iona comeback. I mean, it could be a massive game. Try to get another winning streak going.
It's a great feeling to be back, Ben. Thank you for sticking with us here at Sports Paws.
Be sure to stay up to date with all things Quinnipiac sports content at Q30.com. Be sure to follow us at Twitter at Q30 Sports. Also, while you are at it, download that Q30 Sports app available on the App Store and Google Play.
For Ben Rickovicius, I'm Keenan Mills. Have a good night.